I'd like to share my creative process in painting with you. The first two artworks were inspired by a gorgeous sunset that I caught at Seal Beach, California, with a friend. I took photos of it with my phone, then picked my favorites and adjusted the colors and composition to my liking. I decided to omit the pier and the boats, they were kind of distracting. Then I painted the outlines of the objects and proceeded to fill them in with solid color, which is called blocking in. I then proceeded to blend the colors together on and off the canvas to create the smooth gradations that are found in nature. In order to get the see-through quality in the clouds, I applied thin layers of paint called glazing, so you can partially see through the background. Now I'm adding details and making corrections as well. At some point, I tilt the artwork on the side in order to paint the edges, which are not visible in this video. I like to make the imagery from the front wrap around the sides of an artwork so that these pieces don't need to be framed. Here's another photo from that same sunset, but in a different location. I had to level out the crooked horizon line, and I adjusted the composition to fit into a square. After outlining the objects in the painting, I proceeded to block in the color while smoothing out the transitions between colors as I painted. I enjoyed working on this series a lot. Sunsets and sunrises are my favorite things to look at. Although it has been a while since I've seen a sunrise, I like how peaceful it is at that time of day and the ever-changing displays of colors as the sun enters and exits the horizon. Now back to the painting, I find that I have to go over the canvas twice with paint in order to make sure that the color is in dark enough. I don't like seeing bits of white canvas in my paintings, and at this stage the artwork starts to shape up and more details are added as well as corrections made. I also painted the edges of this painting too, but I skipped filming that. During a trip to Morro Bay, California, I happened to catch a beautiful sunset as a couple walked into my view. I made a couple of paintings from this sunset and decided to make a diptych, which is a two-piece artwork of the scene, but without the people. I focused on the left side of this photo and captured part of the huge rock that this beach is known for. I highly recommend checking out the coastline in this area of Central California. I was delighted by all the views in the neighboring cities as well as in Morro Bay. At this stage, I glazed thin layers of paint in some areas to soften the transitions between the colors in it. I also corrected some areas in the sky and added more details at this stage. This commissioned artwork started with a photo of a pit bull puppy. The owner let me know that they wanted this painting to have neutral colors in it, whites and grays, so it could fit into the room that it would be placed in. And they said they wanted it to have a dreamlike characteristic and also influences from Van Gogh. So they sent me a photo of one of the artworks that they had in mind as inspiration. From there, I sent them some photos of Van Gogh's artworks that I had in a book and found a self-portrait of Van Gogh that fit perfectly. I used that as a background, and in Photoshop, I placed a photo of Bella in there while masking out her back legs and tail because they were distracting. For paintings that require much more care to the likeness of the subjects in them, like portraits, I map out a grid on my canvas to help me focus on smaller areas in the photo. I also superimpose that grid in my photo reference with the same amount of squares and with the same proportions. I found this helps me get a more accurate rendering of my subject. Even though the process does take a little more time in the beginning, it saves me time in the correction phase and makes tackling a more challenging artwork less daunting. Now while I was painting this, I noticed that Bella's disappearing into the background was too abrupt and I didn't like it. So I thought of ways to tie her into the background more with the patterns, and I even thought of adding a tail there that kind of blended in with the background, which was fun. And I also played with the lightness and the darkness as well as the colors in the background so that they would enhance the main subject instead of take away from it. Hope you enjoy.